This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, the latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your hosts, Cheryl.
And Jay. I was waiting.
Okay, you act as if we don't do this every week. All right, got a little flustered there. All right, so this week we watched Heretic, and Jay is on deck for trivia. What you got?
Okay, so there's no Heretic trivia. Because it just came out. Mm-hmm. And Hugh Grant has too long of a life for me to quickly find trivia for him.
Okay, all right.
So this is A24 trivia.
It works.
Okay.
Fits.
And it worked. I think you'll like this one. So A24 has been around for a while, and it's been growing. Okay, so who was the first actress to win an Oscar for acting for an A24 film?
Oh, I know this. It's Michelle Yeoh.
Is that your final
Not
answer?
my final answer.
Nope.
For A24 film.
Yes, for an A24 Oscar for acting for an A24 film. Who was the first actress to receive an Oscar for acting in an A24 film? This is somebody you like.
It's Lupita, ain't it?
No, not black.
Oh.
So, this is somebody you
what's
like. One of your favorite Marvel superheroes.
Is it Elizabeth Olsen?
Okay, second favorite Marvel superheroes. This was your favorite before Elizabeth Olsen. What was your favorite?
Is it a woman?
Yeah, actress. Yes.
Okay, you said actress. Oh, Brie Larson.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Brie Larson won the first Oscar for acting in an A24 film in 2016.
Oh, was that movie A24? Okay.
For The Room, which I did not know was A24.
I didn't
knew
either.
she won for The Room.
I knew she was an Oscar winner because they be trying to play her. Like, watch out now.
Yeah, I didn't know A24
Watch
was
out.
doing it like that back then. But shout out to them.
Okay.
And they've obviously been growing in the right direction. So.
Good. Okay.
I would like to see Brie Larson in an A24 horror film.
Oh, she would do good.
She
Brie
would do
Larson
good.
would probably do good in anything.
She would do good in Heretic.
Yeah.
As like one of the Mormons.
You know
No,
what?
I couldn't imagine Captain Marvel not fighting back.
There it
yeah,
is.
No,
I was gonna say
mind.
I wouldn't have been able to suspend my disbelief that she would be like
Captain Marvel would be trapped in the house.
She played too many other characters that I couldn't.
And her best friend is Monica, and I just don't see that happening with both of them. No,
I would be like,
Hugh Grant don't stand a chance.
We all he's dead. 20 minutes
Immediately.
Movie over. Okay, that was good. That was good.
That was the trivia for this week. So let's get into the rest of the episode. Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun dun dun. Okay, so this week we got some big movie, I think, announcements of new movies coming out. We got some good stuff in the trailer park because Marvel did a D23 Brazil presentation that just wrapped up. Yep. And then Buncha Crunch, we got a little bit crunch, and then we're going to end on a sad crunch, unfortunately. But we got to respect those who deserve it.
Our legends.
All right, let's start off at the top. We will be getting a reboot of The Fly.
Cool.
Which is actually going to be coming from 20th Century Studios, aka Disney. It will be directed by Nakita Jusu. I did not realize that she was like in the horror. She's a black woman director, first of all.
Okay.
This is sounding good. I was already like a black woman behind a horror movie.
Filmography.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's what I was about to get to. This is her directorial debut. Her directorial debut was actually the horror movie The Nanny, not The Nanny, just Nanny,
which was gained popularity during the film festival circuit.
It did. Mm-hmm. So she already in her horror bag, and that also starred Anna Diop, who we love, favorite of ours.
Hope she's Storm.
Who better be Storm?
Yes.
Kevin. Knock, knock.
Right.
But the original Fly was released in 1986, featuring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. If you have not seen it, don't eat and watch it at the same time.
It is a stomach turner.
It is a classic, though. It's a horror classic.
Yes.
But it's been 38 years, so okay, let's reboot it. They rebooting everything else. It's going to be set in the same universe as the original movie that was done by David Cronenberg, but it's not a direct remake. So she is writing her own version of this. Jitsu, I'm Girl, I hope I'm saying your name right. If not,
I think it's Nikiata Jutsu.
Nikiata Jutsu.
Okay. Nikiata. Yeah.
I need to learn it because I feel like she gonna be like she coming up and she gonna be doing a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think I'm already a fan. And I don't even watch horror. But anywho,
she could be just like who wrote Abigail?
Oh, you talking about Megan?
Not Abigail. Megan.
Yep. Blanking.
Akila Cooper.
There it is. I was like blanking.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
More
Akila
of her
Cooper.
too.
Fan of hers too.
Yes.
Even though once again don't like horror, but if you black woman director, I'm kind of like, hey, what you doing?
Yay.
So she is also has another project in the work, which is going to be the expansion of her movie called Suicide by Sunlight, and I think this is kind of what kicked her off of gaining more notoriety. This movie is about day walking black vampires who are protected by the sun because of their melanin.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that an interesting little take? I was like, okay.
Interesting.
So she's got some horror. She got like the black culture.
And the Daywalker thing is there. It's pre-existing because of Blade.
Right. She ain't done. She's also going to direct the Night of the Living Dead sequel coming from Universal and the Monkey Paw. I will say. Although I ain't never watched that. I ain't never going to watch that.
Wait, the original Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, she's doing a.
Okay, so.
Yes. Sure.
Excited for her.
Uh-huh.
Very cautious.
About Night of the Living Dead?
Well, she's making 2 films off of 2 juggernauts.
Very classics.
Genre-defining films.
Somebody must like whatever she putting up because, yeah, you're right. The Fly, Night of the Living Dead, and then she's also getting her short film expanding into a full movie. Yeah. So somebody's like, girl, we like what we see. So
that's exciting. She's coming after like 2 big films that are like classics that the argument can be made that they don't have to be touched. But
I mean, we are touching everything else. So
the Fly's still good. Still the effects of that era of it was when practical effects were like the thing.
Yeah.
Because
and they practically
we didn't have volumes to stick everybody in front of.
Right.
So
CGI
wasn't
still
CGI
good.
It's still like The Thing, Fly, all of that. Still good, still stomach turny, Alien.
Yeah.
David Cronenberg made The Fly.
Right.
You know that name because he made The Fly. He also made A History of Violence, which is the Viggo Mortensen film.
Yes.
He also made that Crimes of the Future movie, which is that other Viggo Mortensen film.
Okay.
You've never seen all of these
because Viggo at these days. Anywho, go ahead.
I don't know.
He did have something come out recently. This is a sidebar, but yeah.
He's supposed to be in the new Lord of the Rings too.
Please.
So, but his son is David Cronenberg, who made Infinity Pool.
Oh.
And he's got a daughter who's also a director as well. Their whole family has a legacy of body horror.
Okay.
In Substance, body horror still alive. Substance is still doing good.
Yeah.
So they're big horror, but body horror, gross practical effects, insides and different color stuff. So it's gonna be nasty. So shout out to her.
Yeah, I'm looking. I got to see a trailer, see if I can handle it. But I'm looking forward to it to see what she gonna do.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of new movie announcements, there's a new Star Wars trilogy coming, and the reactions around this were quite interesting. But anywho, so Disney about to try it again. We're about to get another Star Wars trilogy. It's reportedly going to be episodes 10 through 12, but not continue the Skywalker saga. Although I don't know how that works because the Skywalker saga is episodes 1 through 9. So when you because it's supposed to feature new characters. So I feel like you would start episodes over, but I don't know how to maths on that.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, if it's episodes 9 through 12, then how are we not continuing Skywalker? I mean, maybe it's just a technicality. They can call
They should call them something else. They should call them Star Wars with a different tagline or something.
Yeah, it should not be episode. Just leave the episodes behind.
Well, maybe the reason they're doing that because it's rumored that instead of doing the Daisy Ridley movies that they originally announced, they're just going to have them appear in these movies. So maybe that'll be the one bridge.
I did see something where she's supposed to be like the next Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
In the next set of movies.
Yeah. So
okay.
Hopefully she's more hands-on than Obi-Wan.
Sure. You mean when Obi-Wan came back?
Yeah, because I guess technically Obi-Wan's comeback was when he was old. So, and she's not old. So hopefully she's more hands-on as a mentor. Maybe, hopefully she's more like Qui-Gon Jinn than OG Obi-Wan.
I still want my Obi-Wan season 2, by the way.
He does too.
Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy, please give me season 2.
So this new trilogy will be written and produced by Simon Kinberg, which I think that's where I saw most of the mixed reactions because he has a mixed filmography.
That was a follow-up.
Oh, okay.
To people. That was more of the chatter than anything.
So there's some gems in here. He's got Mr. and Mrs. Smith under his belt.
It was a good movie, but in hindsight, I don't know if it was a great movie.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith is fun.
There you go.
You have to put on your 2012 brain.
There it is.
It's fun. Fantastic Four 2015 had parts. I liked, speaking of body horror, that's how they kind of explained their transition to being superheroes.
Okay.
They all had like these grotesque deformities that manifested in their superpowers. That was really good.
Okay.
So that was a good choice. Good scenes. The movie was not good.
I was going to say.
X-Men Apocalypse had good scenes. Action sequences were great in X-Men Apocalypse and The Last Stand, but the movies were bad.
Oh, first of all, I love The Last Stand. So that is the highlight for me. I'm on an island by myself. I understand, but yes.
Oh, so Dark Phoenix, X-Men Apocalypse had some of the best action sequences in an X-Men film.
I've blanked Dark Phoenix from my mind.
Dark Phoenix was the train sequence
with Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was good.
Where he pulled the train from underground and when he used all the guns to shoot Jessica Chastain.
Then she didn't die. Yep.
And she didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Apocalypse was the one in Egypt when they was doing all the flying around.
Oscar Isaac was the.
Okay, and then you have like the Killer's Game, the 355, and so I mean, yeah, you know.
Yeah, people are not feeling very.
They
comfy.
can't all be winners.
People not feeling comfy about this choice. When I started reading his filmography, I lost a little hope, but he's not gonna be the only writer. They're gonna have like other people join. So
yeah, they just won't be as credited.
Maybe this will be okay.
Yeah.
The fan base seemed a little shaken. I'll put it that way.
Star Wars
it needs
its own shaky ground.
It needs a defibrillator.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's kind of, especially the movies, the
needs warm fluids.
The shows are okay, have been doing all right, and now we're about to get Mando and Grogu and turned
Not all
into
of
a
them,
movie.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. I was gonna say, okay, the reception is not being. That fandom is y'all crazy.
I'll say this:
Which
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with everything that Star Wars puts out. I enjoy it all.
Because we're probably not Star Wars super fans, but I feel like we've seen enough to be like considered fans, and I'm fine with it.
I enjoy everything Star Wars puts out.
Yeah,
mostly. But the majority doesn't like anything other than
that hardcore
than vanilla Luke Skywalker.
You mean literally vanilla?
Yeah, literally vanilla Luke Skywalker. So the fact that these episodes aren't going to have anything to do with the Skywalker saga is a little concerning. Because
you think it's concerning?
The main fan base doesn't care about anybody but Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's gonna be
which is unfortunate, but
it's an uphill battle.
Like they refuse to accept anything new in Star Wars if it's not Luke Skywalker centric.
I mean, I saw some people say yes, let's move away from it, but are y'all gonna be okay if it's like a black person in it? I don't know because y'all freak out every time.
That's performative. I don't think they really want anything different. So
I agree with you. Yeah, but I'm gonna watch it. So
I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it because I enjoy most of all of it.
Give me some more sabers, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he get a team and turn it around because the rest of these credits is a little the Killer's Game. Child, I don't know. But
all right, so that is all the news for this week. Let's roll into the trailer park.
Toot.
Okay, so we just have a few trailers this week. The first one is Mufasa, the Lion King prequel that is coming out on December 20th. What did you think about this trailer?
I think it looks like Transformers 1. The plot.
Yeah,
and
it does.
I mean that in a very good way.
When you're talking about tone, like it's going to shift halfway through and get real serious.
Yeah. I think we're going to get the whole build up of Scar and Mufasa and how they were and Kiki and we're brothers and the Sarabi shows up. So we're going to have our trio, kind of like we had, we had a quad in Transformers, but no, Zazu's there. So we get a quad in this one.
Timon and Pumbaa can kind of be present.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then at some point we know it's going to flip whenever Mads Mikkelsen lions show up. So it looks good though. People trying to rag on the CGI. Like, I'll complain about everything.
They do. I agree. I also think it has the same tone. And we mentioned that episodes ago.
Yes.
It's a twin film.
It is a twin film of Transformers 1.
It's essentially Transformers 1 plot, which we enjoyed.
I love Transformers 1.
If anybody else went to go see that, they would also have enjoyed.
Yeah, but y'all ain't support Transformers 1.
And I think a lot of the negatives around this film being made is for that specific reason.
Because it's a twin film?
Well, I think a lot of the negatives about this movie is that people think it's unnecessary to have a prequel.
Oh,
but if you had went to see Transformers 1 and appreciated the tone and the writing in that film, then you would appreciate what this film is trying to do.
Also, it's Barry Jenkins. So y'all ain't about to doubt Barry Jenkins on me. I don't think so. Also, I will admit, I'm very excited about the Carters joining this promotional tour.
And the music that will come after this.
And the little song that they play in the trailer sounds very catchy.
Because say what you want about the Lion King films, soundtracks are undisputable.
And the last one made $1 billion.
Yeah.
So
like the Lion King
y'all can
music,
go somewhere with that.
Lion King movie music, top tier.
Right.
Sorry.
It'll be triple platinum in my house.
Sorry.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Next stop on the trailer park is an additional trailer for the Thunderbolts that just got released mere seconds ago.
This was like a full meal type of trailer.
Longer than the original trailer.
It's almost 4 minutes.
So this is Thunderbolts' newest entry in the MCU. This is going to be released May 2nd, 2025. And instead of it being it was more like a character spotlight. It was more like a mix of a clip, character spotlights, and then a bit of a teaser at the end of the rest of the movie. Right.
If you have not seen all of the projects that these characters are from, they pretty much tell you their names. And we don't see what projects they're from, but they at least tell you who they are in case you want to go back and see. It looks good. It looks great. It looks like we about to get comedy, action, grounded, Winter Soldier vibes, all that jazz.
Things I liked about it, all the things you said. I like the fact that they took time to do character spotlights because, like we said, some of these characters we have not seen since Ant-Man 2.
Yeah.
For example.
A little bit.
And if you didn't watch a lot of these characters, if you didn't watch any of the streaming series, or if you didn't go see Black Widow in theaters because it was during COVID, and if you didn't watch it at home, then you completely missed those characters, which is like the 33% of this cast.
Everybody but Bucky.
Right.
It's been in a TV show or a streaming movie.
Or it's from Black Widow. Like Taskmaster, Yelena, Red Guardian, and Elaine were all in Black Widow. And if you didn't see that, you would have missed it. So.
Yeah, and if you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you have no idea who John Walker is.
And I liked that it seems like their purpose for existing is going to come up, which I like because a lot of people have been criticizing the point of the Thunderbolts. Like all of these characters don't have superpowers. They just shoot and punch. And I like that there's a line in there where Yelena's like, so what? Are we just made to shoot and punch? And it's like, oh, okay, they're going to do some writing to subvert expectations and actually explain no, there's a deeper purpose for why we're bringing these people together.
Yeah, so. And we still don't know what the asterisk is for. I'm sure we'll find out towards the end. Everybody's saying Dark Avengers.
I don't think they go that route.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. The Dark Avengers, they were all actually evil villains.
I don't want these people to be
in the Dark
evil.
Avengers. They were like Bullseye and the Mandarin and these are they've done it. They've deliberately they're deliberately making these characters anti-heroes.
Yes.
The Dark Avengers were villains.
Yeah, I don't want this to be a ragtag group of villains.
Yeah, and it's not going to end like that. It seems like they're not on Valentina's side.
No.
They're not actually there
but
willingly.
She does seem like the villain.
It seems like Bucky was sent to get them and bring them in.
Right. And they might all... Yeah, and might all be like, actually, we're not down for this.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it looks good, though.
Good action sequences, too. So I'm excited.
Very excited about this one. Speaking of excited.
Next stop on the trailer park is Captain America Brave New World. This comes out February 14th, 2025.
Yeah.
This was a really good trailer. I love this one.
It opens up with Isaiah in jail. And I was like, a black man in jail now? Yeah. Oh, no. So it also the timing of this and the recent election, I think is also going to be very interesting. Yes. And it's also going to be Black History Month. It just is also grounded. Lots of action. We get Sam being Captain America.
I love that they showed off how capable and effective he is.
Okay, Soup.
Without the serum. A lot of people have just been saying, and this must mean that Kevin Feige was listening, because a lot of people have just been saying over and over again, how is Sam going to be Captain America? And Kevin was like, let's show you.
I mean, he cutting he cutting cars with his wings. He using the shield and his wings to blow stuff away. And Sam is Samming.
He's landing on the ground at supersonic speeds and blowing people away with the sound barrier. Like, Steve couldn't do that.
I see a lot of one-liners in this, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, he's taking on the Hulk.
And it seems like Harrison Ford is gonna be like conflicted a little bit. Like he's giving like, I want to save the country, but I'm also like gonna do it by any means necessary.
It also seems like he's not in control of his Red Hulk side either. It seems like his Red Hulk just comes out when it wants to.
Right. And so there's a reporter that says they are also red, which gives a callback to everybody knows that Bruce exists. And
probably She-Hulk is around and she's known too.
She-Hulk. And then one question we did have, there's no Liv Tyler still in any of the trailers, but we know she's in the movie.
The Red She-Hulk. So maybe she takes the serum and that's who defeats the Red Hulk is Red She-Hulk.
Interesting.
Because we know Sam probably won't be the one to defeat Red Hulk.
Right. Maybe. Yeah.
And we know that the She-Hulks are canonically stronger than the male Hulks because of the way the formula interact. I mean, we know that from Tatiana Maslany's character, how they said how the way that she got the serum doesn't switch her personality, so she has more control.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Maybe Liv Tyler will be the third act.
I don't know, but I think it's interesting we ain't seen her in anything, and we know she's in the movie. So.
I actually hope we get 2 Hulks.
Like, that would be nice.
And then, also it's rumored that Amadeus Cho is supposed to be in this movie.
Okay.
Amadeus Cho. This is a deep cut.
Okay. I'm ready.
Do you remember in Age of Ultron, the scientist who created the cradle?
Yes.
She was, I forget her first name. She was Cho, Dr. Cho.
That we saw and then she was gone.
Yes.
We didn't see her
no more. Ultron almost blew her up because he tried to
take her
out. Yeah. She is canon in the comics. She has a son named Amadeus Cho, who becomes Absolute Hulk.
Oh, interesting.
Well, no, not Absolute Hulk. I think it's like Totally Awesome Hulk. I'm getting it confused with Absolute Superman.
Many words.
It's like Totally Awesome Hulk. But basically, he's a Hulk young Avenger who has total control over his Hulk persona, just like She-Hulk does. So
interesting.
He's rumored to be in this as well.
People trying to rag on this movie, and we already know why. I ain't gonna say because it's obvious.
Right.
But triple
platinum in my house.
Triple platinum, okay? Lego
book,
set, t-shirts.
Lego set, yeah. Merch.
Gonna see it multiple times over the weekend.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm very excited about both of these. We didn't get anything about Fantastic Four at D23 Brazil, but I mean they still shooting, so it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, shout out. I loved this trailer. I loved how much they showcased how effective and powerful Sam is because he is, and that can dispel any criticism about whether or not he's capable because he is.
I think I said okay suit like 4 times. So yeah.
All right, so that is all of our trailers this week. Let's dive into this Buncha Crunch. I'm going to say roll into the Buncha Crunch. I was about to do 2 because you said that. All right, so first bit of crunch we have Anna Diop joins Nicole Kidman, Jamie Lee Curtis in a new series called Scarpetta. Am I saying that right? Yes.
Okay. It is actually based on a book, I believe, but it is coming to Amazon. It's going to be a Prime Video and Blumhouse production, so Blumhouse, I probably tell you what it's about to be like.
Not necessarily.
Sure.
It could be deep thriller, not horror.
Fine. The show follows a Virginia medical examiner who uses advanced forensic technology to unravel mysteries and solve crimes.
CSI.
So you could be right, but I feel like there's going to be a ghost somewhere in here.
I mean, okay, so Blumhouse, Jamie Lee Curtis, the red flags are there. And
Nicole Kidman
and her last
and Anna Diop.
Nicole Kidman was in.
She was in that horror movie where she was dead the whole time.
The other, she been in a horror movie since then.
So Anna Diop was in the nanny movie we just talked about.
Okay, so there are horror veterans.
Thank you.
This is a horror veteran house, so the flags are there.
Thank you.
But the plot so far doesn't sound like it's going to be horror based. It says that Diop will play Sierra Patron, or is it Tron?
I read it as Patron, but I don't know.
Okay.
We'll go with it.
And she is a cyber investigator with the FBI. So
she getting work.
Is she the lead?
I don't think so. Nicole Kidman is the lead, and then Jamie Lee Curtis plays her sister.
Okay.
So she might maybe be the lead on her team that Nicole Kidman was worked with or something. I'm not sure.
Good for Anna Diop.
It does sound like
we
CSI.
love seeing her in stuff.
Heck yeah.
She's an amazing Starfire.
Also, could be. Oh, we already said this.
Yes,
Storm.
hopefully she's Storm.
I was like, did we say this recently? We did.
She's not, Kevin, get your mind right and get this girl on the phone. We enjoy seeing Nicole Kidman and stuff.
Yeah.
She's our rating system.
She's literally our rating system.
We saw the trailer for Baby Girl for the first time in front of A24's Heretic.
Yeah, I'm not watching
I'm not interested.
But it looks like it's gonna be well acted.
Nicole Kidman, what did she say? Does the thing.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Good for her. And Jamie Lee Curtis is a horror veteran. We like seeing her too. So
right.
Yeah, good for them. Next stop on the Buncha Crunch list is Vincent Cassel, John Malkovich, Charlie XCX, Ambika Mod. Who is that?
I'm not sure who Ambika is.
Okay.
But I kept them in here because they was on the line.
These 4 individuals have been cast in Sacrifice, which is a film we talked about a few episodes ago.
Episode 40.
How do you find this?
I searched the Google Docs. It was like, because you said we mentioned it. I was like, oh, when? And it's literally been
27 episodes ago.
Exactly.
27 weeks ago, we talked about a movie coming out called Sacrifice. It's going to star Chris Evans, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Salma Hayek and Brendan Fraser. Now, at the time we talked about it, the only thing we knew was that it was about Chris Evans going to a gala that was going to be taken over
by some
by some military or cult or something, by some people who are trying to fulfill a prophecy, sacrifice somebody to fulfill a prophecy. Now we got some additional details, which I think is funny.
Oh my goodness.
So now it is mentioned that this story is going to be exactly that. Chris Evans will be playing a struggling actor who's trying to get back on the wagon after falling off.
And it sounds like Anya Taylor-Joy's character is the one who's kidnapping him. So very interesting.
So while he's struggling to find consistent work as a failing actor, he also gets roped into this cult business at this gala.
Yeah.
I think that's fun commentary.
It is. Now, we know Chris Evans not financially struggling.
No.
But his roles in Hollywood is a little dire.
Yeah.
A little bit on life support.
Yeah.
So
his stuff doesn't get very much attention.
He need a win.
And some of his projects he picks are a little whack. And there's been a lot of questions about, how sustainable his career has been post Captain America.
Yeah. So. I mean, they do that with all the Marvel actors, but he is a prime example of get it together. Because Sebastian Stan is doing just fine.
I like the fact that they added that extra bit of commentary.
He should be able to. He could be funny. He was funny he had a good in Knives Out.
Yeah,
he had a good kind of like funny, awful guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
it's in there, Chris.
I love Chris Evans. This is none of my commentary, but I like seeing Chris Evans in everything. So
it's good.
Yeah.
So he just need a win.
Yeah.
He just need a win.
So I hope this is good. This cast is really good. Anya Taylor-Joy, Salma Hayek. We just saw Anya Taylor-Joy in
Videoside.
Yes. And Salma Hayek, the last thing I saw her in, I think, was Eternals. But Salma Hayek's a legend. I love seeing her in everything. Brendan Fraser's a renaissance.
Listen, the Mummy tops triple platinum in this household.
Last thing we saw him on the show was Killers with Fly Moon.
Yep. So he was in it for 2 minutes.
And The Whale was like stormed the Oscars.
Oh yes, I did not watch The Whale though.
Film festival circuit. So good for everybody involved. I need to see a trailer.
Oh yeah, it sounds interesting though. It sounds interesting enough for me to keep up to date with it.
Next scoop of crunch we have is Anne Hathaway and Zendaya have joined the next Christopher Nolan movie alongside Matt Damon and Tom Holland.
So just a sidebar, this is related. When this news first broke, Deadline said that Lupita was going to be a part of this movie. And I feel like the internet went crazy. He was like, oh my God, Lupita in a Nolan movie, And then they were like, oh, actually, sorry, that was a typo. And everybody was like, boo. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you get that mixed up. I like Anne Hathaway. I like Zendaya. But Lupita, though, that would have been fired. That would have been fired.
A great actress.
Maybe she didn't talk and they ain't ready to say yet.
Yeah, maybe they didn't write up the correct contract.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe she ain't pressed send yet. I don't know. But this sounds interesting. They also said that according to Deadline, who misprinted Lupita's name, descriptions of the film that had come out are not accurate. So apparently it's not a helicopter cop movie. And apparently it's also not a vampire movie. Because it's both. I'm just kidding. So
boo. Hopefully it's not grounded in realism.
I hope not.
I don't want any more realism Christopher Nolan films. I mean, I'll watch it, but I'll just be a little bit sadder than I would have been.
I'll watch it, but unless it's like a Dunkirk, I'm not watching that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not interested in watching a war.
Or if it's like a romantic movie, I don't know if I'm watching that either.
I don't think he does those. Does he?
He might try. Maybe he branching out.
Was Inception romantic?
No.
No.
There's a love story there, but it was tragic. So I don't know. So we have no details about
all in your dreams run.
We have no details about this movie. Also, we are probably going to get 10 more casting announcements until this movie comes out, just like Oppenheimer.
So Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon clearly are Christopher Nolan favorites. They return. We know he likes to reuse the same people.
He does.
Why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And especially if there's people that can act. Why waste time in it?
Because Matt Damon was just in Oppenheimer. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he was just in Oppenheimer.
I liked him in Oppenheimer actually.
And Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon were both in Interstellar.
Yep.
R.I.P. Matt Damon's character. Zendaya has not been in a Christopher Nolan film. Neither has Tom Holland.
Nope.
But they both have great careers outside. Interested to see what roles they will play.
I'm interested to see who's moving still, because you gonna tell me that Tom and Zendaya are gonna promote this and Spider-Man at the same time?
I wonder if there's tension. I wonder if Christopher Nolan is like telling Tom, like, you need to get your people on the phone. You need to tell them to move.
Somebody's moving.
Yeah. I wonder if it's awkward on set.
Somebody's moving.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Nope.
You can't physically ask 2 actors to do this. 2 big movies.
Why would you want to?
2 tentpole movies.
I would move
from 2 competing studios.
If I was Christopher Nolan, I would absolutely move my film.
He's not moving.
I would absolutely move.
You know why I don't think he's moving? Because he didn't lock up the eyes. Well, he also has locked up the IMAX screens.
Well, also,
supposedly
this film is supposed to use a never before seen newly released IMAX technology.
I'm not falling for that again, but I did see that.
But if that is the case, wouldn't you want to move it to where you don't have any competition?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No.
Now, we saw Oppenheimer IMAX, and I personally did not feel like I needed to. So.
Good luck for Tom doing that. Good luck for both Tom and Zendaya doing those pressers.
That's what I'm saying.
Running from back to back.
There's no way. I think
Disney.
I think Spider-Man's moving. I'm gonna call it. I think Spider-Man's gonna move. They cannot have them do this back to back.
What date is it?
July 26th. They probably, what they would move.
You think they're gonna take Spider-Man out of the summer?
Labor Day. Make a Labor Day weekend. That's another big holiday for movies. I don't know what else is coming out because I know you about to look it up. Make it Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day 2025 is September 1st.
Interesting.
September 1. Oh, absolutely not. They're not going to move this Spider-Man out of the summer.
What else is coming out?
I think it's just the principle of the summer blockbuster. Movie. That's still like a thing. Making sure you're
right.
Tom Cruise is still addicted to it.
Oh, yes.
Even at the expense of his own movies.
Or they move it to 4th of July. They move it up instead of back. Now, 4th of July weekend is a big holiday.
September 2025 movies coming out. So September 5th is the last Conjuring film.
Nope.
Horror. There's nothing else coming after that Downton Abbey comes out the next week.
It's either going to go 4th of July or Labor Day. I'm putting it on the books.
So moving into September would not kill the film. It would be fine. But I just don't think they have. I think Christopher Nolan has too much ego to move at all.
Exactly.
And
Disney gonna want them.
And I don't doubt him because he makes great films. So the ego is deserved. Sure. And Disney is still addicted to
summer blockbusters
and showing everybody that they have more money than everybody.
Now, Kevin Feige did say there was a big interview that Kevin Feige did while he was in Brazil. The things that came out we already knew, so that's why we didn't go over it. But he did say that Marvel is going to do 2 movies and 3 shows after 2025. So this is one. The other one is either going to have to be May, because they always do that May weekend, or September. So it'll be I don't think one
of them should move to September.
Yes. I was going to say, because both movies in the summer I feel like are too close.
And I feel like if Disney doesn't, Nolan should absolutely take the Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Nobody. There's
nothing else other than Conjuring. Horror is just alternative broadcasting, so you're not really competition.
They are not keeping these dates for both of these movies.
No, they're not releasing back.
And we got like a year and a half, so they can figure it out.
It would make more sense if they came out the same weekend.
Heck no.
But not after. I mean, because it would be like a Gladiator Wicked thing or a Barbie Oppenheimer thing.
You're right.
But because they're not at the same time, one's gonna suffer, and it'll be the one that comes out after. No, it'll be the one that comes out first.
I think the Marvel fan base is bigger than the Nolan fan base. So somebody needs to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody involved.
We'll be there in the seats.
Last crunch is a sad crunch.
Aww.
This is an R.I.P. crunch to a legend, Tony Todd. Tony Todd is a legendary actor who has been in basically
everything.
A lot of things.
What is he not? Maybe not a rom-com.
Maybe not a rom-com.
Everything else though.
But he is an iconic horror icon that has been in Candyman.
He is Candyman. Okay, we've
Even
said it.
Still.
We don't say it no more.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it's 3 or 5. But
he is that man.
Yeah.
This ain't Cabrini Green.
The man with the Skittles.
He is also the Undertaker. And the Final Destination films as well.
Oh, that's next one's.
And they're currently in the process of making the next one. And I believe he was going to be involved.
I'm sure he
he's
was.
Always involved in Final Destination films. You brought up, he was also, you brought up this film earlier. He was in the original Night of the Living Dead in 1990 as well. And he was also in the original Crow. So he's been around for a very long time.
He's done voice work for the Transformers as well. Revenge of the Fallen. He was the Fallen.
Oh, was he the Fallen?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
We always find it's always interesting when you find out how much extra somebody did. You're like, oh yeah, that is.
I like when people do voice work too.
Yes.
So, R.I.P. to Tony Todd. He's probably. I'm trying to think of another iconic Tony Todd role. Other than just Candyman.
Candyman, not Fantastic Four. Final Destination. He has done a lot of TV as well. I mean.
Oh, The Rock. He was in The Rock.
Oh, that's a really good movie.
Yes.
That's probably one of my favorite movies, actually.
Really? The
Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Ed Harris, too. You really like Ed Harris.
I like all of them.
Yes.
It's just how that movie plays out is just so good. Yeah. It's just one of those, they used to play it on like TNT and TBS all the time. And I would be like, yes, please. Click. Sitting.
R.I.P. to a legend. Tony Todd, 69 years young. So sudden. Yeah. Sucks for the horror franchise, for the film franchises. And maybe he got something in for Final Destination. Maybe his presence is absolutely gonna be felt, like his absence.
Yes,
100%
for sure.
And don't try to cast a new Undertaker or anything. Just acknowledge that he is no longer here.
Right.
And keep the movie pushing.
Exactly.
We don't need a Tony Todd replacement.
Okay. Respect. Respect.
Okay, so that is all the news, trailers, and Buncha Crunch this week. We're going to take a short break, and we are going to get into our movie review of the week, Heretic.
Which is not supernatural.
Praise the Lord, saints.
Technically. Yeah.
See you on that side.
Get your Bibles. This week we watch Heretic. It's a psychological horror movie. It was released November 8th, 2024. It was directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. And if they don't sound familiar, because they didn't sound familiar to me too, right off the bat, they are the directors of 65, which I thought was pretty interesting. Writers and directors of 65.
Nice. They also co-wrote A Quiet Place.
Yes, they right, which 65 is not a horror movie? And,
I guess, yeah, no.
Yeah,
so
right.
I guess they have a monster movie background.
Okay, fair enough. And then our casting characters for this here film include Hugh Grant plays Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Sophie Thatcher plays Sister Barnes. Chloe East plays Sister Paxton. Topher Grace is in this for about 2.5 minutes. He plays Elder Kennedy, and I'm gonna leave it at there. There's one more person in the cast list, but I'm not gonna say that because I feel like that's a spoiler.
Okay.
All right. Runtime of 1 hour and 51 minutes, which I thought was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Budget is unknown. This is an A24 production, and they are not big on giving out their budget.
It's gonna cost them more than $4.
I'm gonna say they probably had to pay Hugh Grant at least a couple mil. So maybe 4 or 5.
Maybe $10 million.
Okay, $10 million. That sounds fair. I mean, they had to build the house or something.
Sure.
Box office opening day was 4.3 million. This is the third biggest opening for A24 period. So it was doing pretty good at the box office. It is only behind Hereditary, which opened at 5.1 opening day, and Civil War, which is 10.8 million opening day. And it's currently projected to do 10 to 13 million for the whole weekend. So it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, so it should make its money back.
It might buy the weekend for sure. Ratings, however, the cinema score was a C+, which is not great even for horror standards. I can see.
Yes, I have that in my notes. Why?
Okay.
Why I think why.
Okay. Like I'm not surprised that it's a C plus, even though I feel like I would give it higher than that. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes are a little better. The critic score is at a 93 and the audience score is at a 77. 77 matches with the C plus cinema score.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to summarize the plot of this here Heretic?
Sure. So the movie is about two Mormon sisters who are doing their door-to-door duty.
Yes.
The Mormon sisters are, no, I was going to say Sister Mary Clarence, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton. And they are going to Mr. Reed's house, who's played by Hugh Grant, because he said that he was interested in learning about the church. So they go door to door. They go to his house.
They're working off a list.
Yes, they go to his house and find out that instead of meeting somebody that they are going to introduce to Jesus Christ, he is going to introduce them to his own theologies.
Yeah, to his own Jesus Christ, quote unquote.
Hijinks ensue.
Right. Okay. Yeah, hijinks is a good word for it. Okay, so that is the plot. Do I want to add anything else to that? No, we can get into that. All right, let's get into our non-spoiler thoughts first.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure. So non-spoiler thoughts. I thought the movie was well written and well acted.
Agree.
Hugh Grant is Hugh Grant, so
yes.
He's an acting legend.
I was like, what is the last thing I seen Hugh Grant in? But he was in Dungeons and Dragons, which he was good there too. And he also played a weirdo. And
I was thinking about when we're going to see him again, and I forgot he was Daniel Craig's husband in Knives Out for like 30 seconds. So he might be in Knives Out 3.
What's that? Oh yeah, when he's in the bathtub.
Because when Janelle Monáe came to his house, Hugh Grant opened the door.
Okay, that was a fun cameo. Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
So he might be in Knives Out 3.
He might.
So those are the last two times I guess we saw him in something. But yeah, I thought it was really well acted. The highlight for me would probably be Sophie Thatcher's character. Which sister? Sister Braxton.
Sister Paxton.
Sister Paxton.
Nope, Sister Barnes.
Sister Barnes.
Okay, so right. Sister Barnes is Sophie Thatcher, who has dark hair.
Yes.
And then Sister Paxton is Chloe East, who has blonde hair.
Yes.
So that's how I'm going to be able to remember who is who. Dark hair is Barnes. Got it.
So
okay.
Barnes was played by Sophie Thatcher.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good. She was a strong lead in this. She had some final girl energy.
Yeah, she did.
Because this is a horror film.
Right.
I thought Chloe East's Sister Paxton was good as well. I thought she was good. Her character had to grow on me, but I guess that's for plot reasons.
Well, I think they set her up that way.
Yes.
For sure.
But I thought, by the end of the film, everybody did a really good job. But
agree.
The standout would be Sophie Thatcher for me. Had some solid twists.
Had a couple of twists, actually.
Yeah, that I didn't see coming. It does kind of end with some interpretation.
It did. I was reading up on it because as soon as the credits started rolling, we started trying to dissect the ending. And then I looked up a couple articles and on Reddit, and people were having the same conversations. Yeah,
it's going to be one of those endings where not everybody's going to walk away with the same conclusion.
Correct.
But that's part of what makes these types of movies fun. I thought it was, so it had a very small setting.
Yeah.
Which I did enjoy.
In a house.
Because it was filled with creepy atmosphere.
We're only in a house.
Yes. You're only yeah. And I guess I expected the set to be bigger. The trailer made it seem like the trailer makes it seem like that they're going to be trapped in like a maze of some sort. But that's really mostly just a metaphor.
Right. Yes.
The visual maze in the trailer is just a metaphor for them being trapped somewhere. But it's a very small set.
We in like 3 or 4 rooms.
Yeah, but nicely. Because you're just in a house and you're like in 2 rooms in a basement.
You got to do a lot to make a movie good, and you literally in like 2 rooms in a basement.
Right, exactly. I like the short runtime. Right at the 50-minute mark, when you had tapped me and said there's only 50 minutes left in the movie, I was kind of like, what else? Yeah. Like, there's not enough time. We're just getting started.
We were just getting started. The first hour is dialogue heavy, but it's doing all the setup.
Yes.
Which is good, because you need the setup to understand the rest of the story.
Because the movie the movie sets up that these 2 girls are going to be in a situation where they're going to have to escape.
Right.
But the part where they have to start trying to escape doesn't kick in until after the first hour of the film.
You are correct.
It's a lot of discussion.
Good
discussion. Yeah, really good writing. If it wasn't well written, it being an hour before we get to the survival part would have been boring. But it was really well written, and the way it was shot, the way it had long legs kind of camera framing where they kept making sure there was enough space on the side of the characters in the center of the screen to get something creepy in the background and kind of catch your attention
right,
and make it tense. And I enjoyed my last non-spoiler note is that I enjoyed the conversations around the religion and their similarities. And like the metaphors of the landlord's game.
Yes, the example, Monopoly and whatnot.
I guess we can talk about it later.
Right.
But there's a lot of learning. Like he points out like a lot of things that unless you do like independent research, you wouldn't know off the top of your head.
He's very smart, but smart people can also they're smart enough to put things in and out of context.
Yes.
So where if you don't know any better, you'd be like, oh, you're like a genius. And you're like, I mean, you know it, but the way you're portraying is a little funky. Right.
Like I like the way that the conversations about religion were filmed and framed and written. And not necessarily everything that was said, but I like the fact that was the point. That was his motive. Right. Hugh Grant's motive is based around religion. And I liked how it was written, how he saw religion.
It was thought-provoking.
Yes, it was thought-provoking. And you don't have to agree with everything because I absolutely don't agree with everything, but I see where he went off the deep end.
Yeah. You could see it in his eyes like, oh, you're not right in the head.
Yeah, like learning all things, if you don't, focus, you'll eventually fall off the deep end.
And he gives a little backstory of how he got there. And you're like,
and it's in the name, Heretic. So
okay, I see. But
right. It's like, okay, you were going somewhere,
and then you went too far.
And at some point, you should have hit the brakes, and you didn't. Right. And you just kept going.
Your conclusion is faulty.
I like the way that was written in his character.
Yeah.
But I do see why the cinema score was so low, and I think that's why because the conversations around religion and today, and I think that he definitely poked holes.
He tried,
but
for sure.
I mean, there were like holes that were already there that people already kind of like discussed about different religions. Like he didn't break new ground.
No.
But it's mostly kind of just, I can see how it would be offensive to somebody because for about 15 minutes, he just kind of roasts every religion.
He does.
Uninterrupted.
Yeah.
So I can see why that would rub people the wrong way. He focuses on the
Book of Mormons because they're Mormons, but he kind of go at everybody.
Yeah, he kind of just does he kind of just has like a grilling session across all religions. And it's not like things you haven't heard before. But
you're right.
I can see why that would rub people the wrong way. So, But overall, I enjoyed it.
They did a very good job in this movie of making it uncomfortable.
Yes.
And it is pretty we do not spend a lot of time outside of the house. So the girls get to the house in the first 10 minutes of the movie?
Yes.
10, 15 minutes. And it is literally...
I don't even know if it's 15 minutes before they got to the house. Maybe 10.
Maybe 10. Yeah. And the moment they get in the house to the end of the movie, it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like the whole time. And you're just like, oh, God, this is icky.
It's an hour and 15 minutes. We only got 3 characters. So we kind of just dive right into the tension.
Right. So, and that sounds like a negative. That's actually a positive. Yeah. Because you're just kind of like, you're tense. You waiting for what's next. The conversation is going. Like the way he's questioning them is really uncomfortable. So they did a very good job of setting up. This is a horror movie, and it's not horrific just because it might be scary, but it's horrific because of this conversation.
The people are what's scary.
Yes, this conversation that we're having. I think the cinema score might have also been because of that. Yep. The movie was just so uncomfortable. Yeah. I will say that the sound design helped make it uncomfortable. Like all the eerie backdrops of the music.
I had to think, was there background music?
The scene where he writes, and this is in the trailer, where he writes belief and unbelief on the doors.
Is that the one scene?
The music behind that was just like, oh God, this is about to be so dreadful. Because the music was just like, it just felt real heavy and sad, and like, you just know it's about to be bad.
He spent so much time in this movie talking. Yeah. Like he never stopped talking.
Oh, he does.
And I could not, after, it didn't dawn on me till today. I was thinking like, was there background music? Because all I remember is hearing Hugh Grant.
Like the character plays some music, but there are certain moments of where they're panning in and out of his face or their faces. There's some little music there.
That means it worked, making people uncomfortable.
It did. Yeah. But for some reason, when he was writing and you see this in the trailer, but the sound is not the same. Mm-hmm. When he's writing on those doors, I was like, man, it's about to get crazy out here. So sound design helped with that. You already said acting was good from all our characters, so that obviously helped. I like both of the actresses, I think, equally, because one of the Sister Paxton has a bit of a character arc in this, just a little bit, and that that bumped her up for me, I guess. But all the acting was good. It's not supernatural, but it kind of get there. Just a kind of touch.
Like we said, interpretation.
Yeah, because it's a psychological thriller. Again, it definitely plays, horror, but it definitely plays with the mind. But some supernatural element was kind of like, maybe couldn't show, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool that it kind of isn't, but it kind of is.
It's kind of like Gothica.
A little bit.
When she was like in prison. You thought it was Ghost, but it was really Bruce Willis.
Yes. Yeah. So they were able to do that really well. I like that the movie is not just about hating religion. So they definitely have both sides of this in this, I think.
No, it's not about well, he definitely bashes all religions equally, right. But the movie is not about bashing religions.
Right. The girls have their side, he has his side, and it's kind of like neither side backs down, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yes. It's
not just about like it's kind of how Civil War was not about one side or the other. It was just everybody's terrible.
Yes.
So it was kind of like in this movie there was no one definitive which side are you supposed to be on kind of situation. And then you already mentioned that the end is kind of open to interpretation, but it's not frustrating. Some movies do that, and you're just in the end. You're like, you should have just picked the ending. But this is more of, okay, depending on how you look at it, you might interpret it, but it's not. You don't leave the movie feeling like I didn't feel unsatisfied. That I had to kind of maybe come up with my own conclusion.
Yeah, my interpretation of the end, like the ending has different ways that you can interpret it, and none of them I feel like are bad.
Okay.
I can't think of an interpretation of it that's like, oh, this is a bad ending. Okay. It's more like
I read a couple that people had, and one in particular I was like, yeah, that don't make no sense.
Yeah,
you just
I
made
think
that up.
Yeah, I saw some things. One of his theories, and we might have seen the same thing. Theorizing about the ending based on one of his theories that is revealed in the film. And I was like, yeah, but that wasn't supposed to stick.
That's probably the same.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I was like, yeah, but that wasn't supposed to stick.
Like, you so just made that up.
I don't think that's part of the ending. But
right.
I thought about the ending today and I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I like how I interpret it, but how other people interpret it also makes sense. But it's not, I can't think of a movie where the ending is open to interpretation. It's also frustrating. But this does a very good job of having that type of ending.
Yes,
and
it does.
Other thing you mentioned is just long enough. Wasn't too long, wasn't too short. There's a little backstory I might have wanted, but it wasn't necessary to complete the story. So
yeah, and that's why I appreciate the runtime, because we know going in that the movie is based on a mystery. Right. So let's get to it.
Exactly. And we didn't have to add, like, they could have added 30 more minutes to this, but it would have just been overkill. So
yeah,
they timed it. The pacing is good.
And they didn't take forever letting Hugh Grant get sketchy. Like, he was sketchy in the beginning. And the characters didn't recognize.
Second he opened the door, I was like, y'all, turn around.
Right.
Go out.
So.
All right. Any more non-spoiler thoughts?
No.
All right. So we are going to spoil this movie. If you don't want to hear it, pause and come back later. Spoilers are coming in 3, 2, and 1.
So let's just talk about the sisters.
Yes.
Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton.
Sister Paxton first. So that's Chloe East.
Okay.
She plays a sister of the faith.
Yeah. Sister of the Church of Latter-day Saints.
When the movie opens, though, she is our innocence, kind of.
You know what I've noticed?
Naive person of the movie.
They always give final girls in slasher films dark hair.
Oh.
Like Sydney.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Not Allison in Friday the 13th. But most final girls have dark hair.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a horror movie trope.
Okay.
That the blondes,
maybe that's why we
the blondes are the ones that don't make it, and the dark hair girls, the Sidney Prescotts, are the ones, and the Jennifer Love Hewitts are the ones
that
who
make
survive.
it.
Because Sarah Michelle Gellar and all the blonde girls in Scream die too.
So Sister Paxton is our blonde hair chick.
Yeah.
And they set her up she gonna be first to go.
Yeah, they do.
Because they open up with this conversation about like her watching like a porno movie and Sophie Thatcher's character, Sister Barnes, is kind of like, this conversation is awkward and uncomfortable. She just seems really naive.
And I like the fact that they come from 2 different backgrounds. So when they meet Mr. Reed, he asks them where they come from. And Sophie Thatcher's character, Sister Barnes, says she was a convert. Right. So she had a life outside of the church prior. She had a life, a tragedy had occurred. Her father had died.
Right.
And she was a convert to the faith. and Chloe E's character was born into the church. So they were having a conversation about Sister Paxton watching an adult film for the first time.
Yeah, it was
and
weird.
it didn't dawn on me until after they met Mr. Reed and they explained their backgrounds. I was like, oh, that's why Sister Barnes was looking at Sister Paxton talking about that adult film. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? Because Sister Paxton was from Sister Barnes is from the outside world.
Right.
And she came into the church, so she knows what adult films are. And
Exactly.
Stuff like
And Sister Paxton took the whole film experience as like, you know, the girl in there, she just was just living a horrible life, and that let me know that God was real. And it was like, is that what you took from
Yeah,
me?
she interpreted, I guess she was watching a homemade adult film, and she interpreted the woman in the film shame of being caught filming as proof that God is real because he made her feel shame.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation, and she is actually someone who has not been, I don't know if they have like numbers and metrics, but she has not been able to baptize anybody, convert them to the faith.
Yes.
Whereas Sister Barnes has said she's had like 7 or 8 people. And Sister Paxton's like, oh my God, like you're really good at this. So she's trying to get her numbers up, essentially. So she's really new at like trying to convert people, hasn't been able to do it. So she's got this real naive, super perky, happy, oh, I just love everybody because I want to convert everybody. As her Sister Barnes is like, I kind of done this and I got a little more experience. So she seems a little more level-headed.
And it makes sense why Sister Barnes got more converts, because Sister Barnes, and even when talking to Mr. Reed, Sister Barnes comes across as more of like a real person.
More authentic.
And Paxton comes across as a salesperson. When she talks about the faith.
She was literally reading off her practice speech, and she was so gung-ho on trying to get it out. She like rushes it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Reed is looking at her like he already know what he about to do, but he still look at her like, girl, this is awkward. Like, this is not how you convert people. You just reading off a speech that you remembered in your head.
Her pitch to join the church is all rhetoric.
Yes.
And Sophie Thatcher is more of she has worldly experience. She has more worldly experience than Sister Paxton. She has the experience of not having faith.
Right. And it rolls off the tongue much in a better way, where it's like, it sounds like it's coming from the heart versus Paxton is just reading from a script she remembered.
And that's good writing, because you don't realize that until further into the movie why that first scene of the film is framed that way. So because they have entirely different backgrounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But so Chloe East did very good at this though. She did a very good job of playing that naive, don't have the worldly experience. And I would say even until they got to the doors, she was still very much kind of like naive, not fully understanding what's going on, try to be on like, get on Mr. Reed's good side. And it was like, girl, he is not about to help y'all. And get out of this.
And it's the compare and contrast between how Barnes and Paxton react once they are kidnapped. Yeah. How Paxton does all the things that they tell women you're supposed to do. Yeah. When you're like in an awkward situation with the man, it's like, don't make him aggressive, don't offend him, just be polite and agree, and eventually he'll let you go.
That's exactly what she was
Sister
doing.
Barnes is kind of like, girl, he's already initiated the kidnapping process. It's fight or flight.
Exactly. and they could have did more fighting in mine.
And because one is from the outside world where violence is okay, and the other is from the inside world where it's like, no, you're supposed to be like submissive and safe.
Exactly. So Sister Barnes plays a super good character of all the ways you describe, but the way that they zoom in on her face quite a bit, like you could tell early on she knows something's wrong or something's not right. And she feels a little uncomfortable because when they show up to Mr. Reed's house, they say, we can't come in unless there's another woman there. And he's like, oh, my wife's like taking a shower or something, I'll go get her. So then they come in and I feel like she immediately starts like being suspicious. And they zoom in on her face sometimes, like in and out. And she has like a lip twitch. And sometimes her like eyes look kind of like, they kind of darting back and forth. So they did a very good job of framing her as like, okay, she the alert one. This other chick, she just to the wolves now. She's
a convert. So she's thinking with her everybody in the world is not nice and gentle brain.
Yeah, you're right.
And Paxton was not wired that way. So and I think that's what I enjoyed about her is that's like, oh, okay, you have a little bit of experience with weirdos.
Right.
So where you're
right.
she and they didn't react correctly, though the way that I wish they would have to the red flags.
Yeah,
but at least she identified that there were red flags in the room. She didn't really do anything about it, but
right. And so when they first get in the house, there's the first major red flag is the fact that he says, "I hope you don't mind that the house is covered in metal." And no, they don't really react to that. And I was like, y'all,
yeah.
That's like red flag number 1. But by the time he shut the door, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know it yet. But by the time he shuts the door, like, they not getting out.
Yeah.
And he is able to pick up on their differences, which I also thought was pretty cool. Because as he's asking questions, they don't really answer the same way. Like, Sister Barnes gives that more authentic, worldly point of view. And Sister Paxton is kind of like, she's like the Mickey Mouse answers, right? Yeah. She's just giving whatever. And he kind of looks at her, but then he looks back at Sister Barnes like, I want your answer. Because she says this later in the film, like, he's watching me more. Yes. Because he knows that she kind of know that something ain't right.
Yeah, because Barnes was the only sister that challenged anything he said.
You're right.
So I think that's why he kind of honed in on her, like, she's going to be the obstacle in this operation. You're right. He could tell, and I was wondering if he was looking at her because he noticed that she seemed like nervous. Not nervous, but like, she had like the twitching, not the twitching, but like, she just seemed uncomfortable. She was very suspicious from the get-go.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And they would hone in on the fact that she was suspicious. And then from his point of view, it seemed like he was honing in on that as well. So anything else about the sisters?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. Now let's go on to Hugh Grant, who plays Mr. Reed. I almost got no notes. It was kind of a perfect play.
It was a perfect Hugh Grant performance.
It was like
it was like if Mr. Rogers was a horror film.
Yes, he didn't miss any steps on that, like, weird, creepy guy who, like, they spouting all this stuff like they know everything. And you can tell they're like like they're knowledgeable and they're smart and they've read a lot.
They're not idiots.
Because they can, like, counter anytime you got a counter, he got a counter for it. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of that back and forth. But the way he presents it is very old man creepy, though.
Yes.
And they keep asking for his wife, and he does a pretty good job, at least for our characters, to keep diverting about the wife. Like, oh, she's shy. Oh, okay, she's ready now. I'm going to go get her. Or, he does a very good job of conning them, at least in the beginning. Even though one of them is suspicious, they don't full turn until later. Yeah. So he did an excellent job playing creepy.
Very unsettling. I liked his line delivery. Mm-hmm. I liked how Hugh Grant knows about all religions, right? In this movie prior to them coming to his house,
because he said that he spent all his time studying all these different religions, like doing a paper or something.
So he signed up to be visited by Mormons, well aware that he's well versed in a lot of different religions across.
He got a whole book.
He said he spent 50 years of his life studying religions, trying to find the origin of religion. Mm-hmm. So his reveal that because they're going into house thinking, oh, we're going to introduce him to Jesus Christ, and his reveal, his turn of, oh yeah, I have the full Book of Mormon, I have all of these post notes in it.
I mean, it looked like a college textbook with all the notes that was.
It's hardcover, Book of Mormon, hardcover. It's
you're right.
Super heavy. It's got like this wood casing on it.
Yeah, it's very dark.
It's very dark. And the way I guess whenever he slams any of the holy books down, there's like this low beat drop. So they present all of the religious books in the movie like they're like different copies of the Darkhold.
Yeah,
that's the way
right.
he talks about them.
You are very true.
So his turn of being like the actual more religious person, than them, was good.
And it's funny because Sister Paxton, her naivete, was like, oh my God, this is great. You have this book that's got all these notes. You know more than us. And Sister Barnes is like, girl, that's not normal.
Why are we
supposed to be right? We supposed to be teaching him, and he know more than us. Red flag.
Very good writing, because he was very nonviolent until like the third act of the film, but he seemed dangerous throughout the whole film. Like it didn't make full sense why they didn't like rush him, because it's two of y'all. Added to the context that there are Mormons, they're not quarterbacks.
Right. And they little skinny.
And he's skinny, and he is a man, and you're in a different environment.
And you don't know where his wife is at.
You don't know where, he obviously is a craftsman. He's a man who's taller than you. You're in a house that he knows. This is his playground.
Yeah, he doesn't tower over them, but he definitely has a dominance over them.
He's like an imposing figure.
Yes, because he's old, but he's not frail, and he's knowledgeable, but he's not being violent. It's very weird.
He says repeatedly, like, I'm not forcing you to do this. I'm not going to, be aggressive. I'm not going to make you feel uncomfortable.
He does a lot of gaslighting.
But he also does those things just with his words, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah, so this was perfect casting for Hugh Grant. I think I read that somebody else was supposed to play Hugh Grant. I have to go look it up.
I don't know who else would be. I mean, after seeing the film, I don't know who else. Ralph Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes would have been pretty
Ralph Fiennes would have been good.
So yeah, everybody's cast, all the casting was good. I mean, I'm not familiar with the two actresses from anything else, although it looks like one of Sophie Thatcher is going to be in this very weird twisted movie that's coming out with the guy from The Boys.
Companion.
Yes.
With Jack Quaid.
Yeah, it's giving Blink Twice vibes. Not going to go see that.
Yeah, I'm done with after Blink Twice. I think I'm taking a break from the captured women genre.
Oh yeah, permanent break. I mean, you add this to it. This was kind of captured women as well, but different tone, different mission.
Yes,
different mission.
Literally.
But I haven't seen them in anything prior to. But they did really good, so I was pleasantly surprised by their performances. So, it
says Chloe East was in The Fabelmans, which was that Steven Spielberg movie that just went to the Oscars.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
But she has two other films that are in post-production right now, so we will see more of them.
Good for her. Anything we got else about the characters?
No. You mentioned Topher Grace is in this for about 5 minutes.
Yes.
He plays their elder of their church.
Yep.
And he's only in it for about 5 minutes. We only see him when he notices the girls have not returned back to the church after doing their door-to-door, and he goes to look for them, but he's unsuccessful. But he does live, so...
He literally goes to look.
Take your wins.
Don't ask too many questions. People tell him no, including Mr. Reed. Like, oh no, I haven't seen him. And he go about his business. He gives them
a pamphlet and he goes to see the end credits.
Yeah, somebody was like, they think it's funny that he returned with a pamphlet and not with the police. I was like, well, yeah,
I don't know.
That's how women's lives be these days.
The Hugh Grant did everything right.
He did. He was unassuming.
To be unassuming and unsuspicious. Unfortunately, he didn't do everything right.
Right. Because one thing we didn't mention is that the girls are riding around on bikes. And they hook their bikes up to the front. But little do we know later that the Hugh Grant actually had the bikes taken away. Because we were kind of like, well, doesn't he not see their bikes? They were gone. Yeah. So they literally no evidence that they were even there.
They do several Knives Out reveals in this film where they do exposition during a flashback to a scene, and they show you like a different person's perspective or something that they deliberately made sure you didn't pay attention to.
Which was well done as well. It wasn't too confusing when they did that, like hopping back and forth.
It wasn't confusing. They only did it twice.
Right.
And it wasn't bad. I kind of would have preferred not the flashback scenes and them just kind of like talking, kind of like the Entrap. Okay. Where the wife kind of just talked. We didn't see her physically flashback.
I think I like seeing it only because I was like, how did this, like, where are the bikes? Like, how did you move the bikes? But the way they showed it, it was short. That's what it was. Yeah. It wasn't like we cut away for 5 minutes and then came back. They literally explained it in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, my only negative about showing us the flashbacks is that it highlights the fact that they deliberately ignored red flags earlier in the film. It's like, okay, you saw this,
but you didn't do anything.
And it didn't set anything off.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's fair. The only negative I have about it. But I do think it was still done well.
Okay. All things considered. I agree with you on that. That does kind of highlight, girl, you ain't see that coming? Oh, you did, but you ain't do that. Okay.
Yeah, like if he went to the kitchen, he came back and you noticed he was wet and you waited an hour and 51 minutes to mention it. That's a little strange.
Yeah, you ain't bolt for the door.
Right.
Yeah, but, you're right. Okay.
Movies.
Right. It's every movie ain't perfect. That's right. Fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our likes and dislikes for this movie.
Sure. So I don't have that many dislikes. I only have
one.
They're both petty. I'll say that. They're both petty for the sake of just having a
dislike. I think we both have the same petty dislike.
Okay,
go ahead.
So I'll just start with my dislikes.
Sure.
They're the perfect victims.
Yeah.
And they're Mormons, and there wouldn't be a movie if they weren't like the perfect victims. But that was my only dislike, is that they did not have the fight or flight. I look for that in horror movies.
They had no fight till it was the end. But at this point, we are trapped in a basement. Things have happened. Blood has been shed.
Yeah.
And now you want to fight? Like, as if I'm stuck, I would not be going to no strange man's house, but that's what they do.
Right.
If I'm stuck, the first thing I'm going to do when I realize I'm locked in there, and it's two of us and one of them, we ganging up.
Right.
It's gang on site. Like chairs, books, candles, knives, forks, my foot, my fingers, like eyeballs is getting gouged out. We are fighting.
Yeah.
And we will, because he says, when they ask to leave, he's like, oh, you can't go out the front door. And they're like, well, that's weird. Like, why can't we he says the doors are on a timer. They won't open up until the morning. I was like, okay, well, we going to fight it out.
Yeah.
And we'll wait till the doors open
in the morning. You just let me know. All I have to do is kill you and wait.
Hello.
So, thank you.
I will find a way. But you dead, it don't matter. We can take all day to get up out of here.
Listen.
I know you got at least some food in here.
That was one of my notes. Kill him now and think on heaven later.
Hello.
Yes.
Like, it would have been self-defense.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Heaven
right?
will still be there afterwards.
Hello. I
Yeah.
think self-defense is allowed in the Mormon faith. I don't know. I ain't about to Google it.
Me and my God are cool with that.
Hello.
Like, he will want me to live.
Hello.
Yeah.
So right, that was the only negative, is that they didn't fight back.
That's not a filming negative. I don't think this movie did anything bad.
Right.
Actually.
And it's petty, because if they fought back, it wouldn't be no movie.
And
so we recognize that.
I would have said, okay, maybe the writing would have had some issues if some of the things Hugh Grant said, they just left. But no, they wrote him saying weird things about religion that didn't quite all the way connect all the way through. Right. And it would have been bad writing if they just left it like that. But after that, they wrote the characters rebuttaling to what he said. So
exactly.
That they deliberately did that.
Right.
I can't think of anything wrong that this movie did or any issues that
now some people I saw said that they felt like the last act, they wished it was supernatural. So they wish it actually went full on supernatural, because, and I mean,
it's still interpretation.
Yeah. I guess some people wanted full on like The Grudge or something. Yeah, I was like, no, please.
We
please
still don't really know how the final scene of the movie happened.
Right. And
what actually took
let's
place
get into our likes, where we'll probably reveal more of the plot. So one thing we both said that we liked was the twists and turns of the movie. So essentially, he gets them into this second room. They have to pick the door of belief or disbelief. Well, surprise, surprise, both doors lead to the same basement.
Right.
And in this basement, out comes he calls it a prophet, but it's actually just a woman on the verge of death.
Yes. So let's talk about his beliefs, because we didn't actually we just talked about how he tore down religion.
Yeah.
His belief is that there is one true religion. He has spent 50 years studying all religions. There's only one true religion. And after all his studies, he's come to the conclusion that every religion is just a reiteration.
Just an interpretation of another religion.
None of them are original. They're all just reiterations. And he uses the metaphor of somebody suing the Beatles and then sampling music, basically.
Yes.
How he uses I can't remember all of the songs because they're not songs that I listen to.
Nope.
Sorry.
I didn't catch. I was like, I don't know that.
Nope.
But I'm going to believe you.
Nope.
I'm not going to wiki this. I'm going to trust it.
But he basically uses the metaphor of music songs sampling one another, how they just reiterate the same message over and over again, but they're all derivative of the same thing.
Right.
That's his belief. And the characters don't believe that, and that's not true, because all religions have different types of figures.
He was missing. He tried to say that, and Sister Barnes kind of counters that and says you are leaving a lot of things out of context. Like he says Judaism was the most popular religion, but now it's only like 1%. Well, she was like, well, a lot of people died.
Yeah, you didn't account the Holocaust.
So that might account for people not, but they're not here. And then there was another reference to
Islam.
He was saying how that's really similar to Christianity, but Islam don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
And he was trying to say, well, there's all these stories of a similar guy like Jesus before Jesus was born. She's like, there's one religion where the person is a bird,
right?
Like walking around. That can't be Jesus.
Yeah. Basically, he forms a bunch of like very thin connections between all of these between every religion in the world, just because of maybe one or two or up to one to three similarities, right? And has deduced that they're all the same. So he's saying that he has identified whatever
right.
one true religion is.
Right, and he wants them to find out what
downstairs
it is. In the basement.
In the basement. It's in his basement.
One of my favorite scenes, and this I'll probably reiterate this when we get to that part, was when there's a door that says belief and disbelief. Mm-hmm. So Sister Paxton is like, yeah, whatever. Sure, you say all this is fake. I'm going to go through the disbelief door.
She's doing the things that you're
because
that
you told me that I'm not supposed to believe. And Sister Barnes is like, girl, please. I believe. I still have my faith because this wackadoo is not about to talk me out of it. Mm-hmm. I'm going through the belief door. So they actually both go through the belief door, not knowing that obviously it goes down to the same basement. But they get down there, and this is where because Sister Barnes calls out that he's just trying to study us. Like, he doesn't care about belief and disbelief. He's just trying to study us to see what we gonna do, which is kind of true.
Yeah.
Because they get down there, and, they're trying to devise a way to get out, and he can hear them through like I don't know what you call it. He's got like a speaker or mic or whatever.
It's basically just like a metal pipe that runs from the basement to
his office. Yeah, and he can hear them and talk to them, vice versa.
Yeah.
So out as they're trying to figure out how to get out of here, out comes this thing out of the door.
First it's a spider, which I did not appreciate.
Listen,
because I think they thought that he was snaking something down the pipe, and it kept being out of focus. You looked away.
I should add a note to this. There are about 5 minutes of this movie that I watched through my popcorn bucket.
Yeah, so
because of what's about to happen. Because of what's about to happen. So I heard the whole movie. Now I didn't see the whole movie. That is not a prerequisite of me watching a movie.
There was a scene where they were trying to.
Because you jumped, and I was like, "Oh snap! I'm glad I missed it."
I don't like spiders, but there was a scene when they were looking in the pipe. Because they were trying to figure out how they were going to use it to get out.
And I did miss it.
And it looked like he was putting something down it. Like he was putting rope down it or something.
Okay.
So they were like looking in the pipe to see what it was because it kept being out of focus. And then it finally got in focus. It was just a spider crawling out of it. And that's what made me jump.
Okay.
Because they were also in the room with the spider and a dead lady.
Yeah. So out comes and the way they framed it was super spooky because there's a door and there's a light behind the door. And you're like, well, is that? And they think it's him, but he's all the way upstairs.
Oh, before we talk about it later, can we talk about the pie first?
Oh, yeah.
Because it comes back.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
So the pie, I thought the pie reveal was good.
Yes.
In the trailer, it plays much better in the movie.
I didn't get it in the trailer. So in the trailer, there's a scene where he's burning a blueberry pie candle. And when our character, Sister Barnes, looks at it, she has this terrified look on her face.
And I thought it was like, oh, she's having PTSD. She's seen this candle before. Or she's been here before.
Well, I thought the candle was maybe giving off a fragrance that was making them loopy. But in the trailer, you're just like, I don't understand the context.
Yeah.
In the movie, however, he is telling them that his wife has baked a blueberry pie. Mm-hmm. And they're going to offer her, they're going to have pie with the wife whenever she's ready or whatever. Well, come to find out, ain't no pie.
Yeah.
He's been burning a blueberry candle the whole time they've been there.
In their face. And they've been in the house with him for 20 minutes while he's been lying straight to their face. And then and the door's locked. And then it's revealed that the pie that they've been waiting on is just this candle sitting on the table.
And the reveal is good because he actually has the label turned away from them. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting in front of this candle. I'm just trying to think, would I recognize that the scent is actually coming from the candle if I'm sitting there?
I think she recognized that when he blew out the candle, the scent went away.
Oh,
that's what prompted her to turn the candle around.
Okay, because so how the scene goes is he blows it out, he walks away. As he's out of the room, she reaches over and the slowest turn you could ever imagine. Yeah. She turns the candle around and it says blueberry pie on it, and then we get the I'm scared face that we see in the trailer. And it was like, but that's a good point. She noticed that the scent probably went away when he blew it out.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. I thought that was good. That was a good reveal. It was so much better in the movie than it was in the trailer.
You don't get it in the trailer because you don't have the context of what's actually happening.
As soon as he pulled the candle out, I said, oh, because he mentioned pie at the door when he first opened the door. He said she's baking blueberry pie, and then when he put the candle on the table, I said, "Oh, this is what this means." I thought that was good.
That was and the pie comes up later because our half dead person who comes out of the door because they think it's him. It ain't. And this is where my popcorn bucket goes up. It's a person who turns out to be a lady who's like you said. She looked like she was dying.
Oh yeah, you didn't. You had your eyes closed.
I didn't see her. I didn't see her at all because her foot comes down. We see her foot first, because she ain't got no shoes on, but it's like a ghoul foot. And I was like, God dang it, it's a ghoul in this.
All things considered, she did not look, she wasn't the creepiest looking thing that you've seen. But I'm glad you didn't look, because I know you and that would have haunted you.
Yeah.
But she was like a medium on the creep effect level.
Did she look worse than the chick from The Ring crawling out the TV?
No, because the chick from The Ring, sip close.
Did she look like the thing on the back of the head in that
movie?
What?
She looked no. She didn't look
Malignant?
like Malignant. No.
Okay.
She looked like a tumor, but she did look like the girl from The Ring, Samara. Nope. She did kind of look like that.
Didn't know. Thank you.
But
Thank
her
you
face,
for
she had a regular face. She was just gray because they were malnourished.
Right.
But so basically he sends them down to the basement because he says he's going to make them witness a miracle. And his miracle is that he thinks that he has had the power to death and resurrection.
Yeah.
So the miracle is he does actually have a blueberry pie.
He does.
He sends this robed, creepy, ghoulish looking woman that he calls the prophet downstairs.
Yeah.
Because he's baked belladonna in the pie, which is a poisonous flower.
Yeah.
And his plan is to make the prophet eat the pie,
which she does.
And then his claim is that she will die and then she will come back to life and she will tell them what the afterlife was.
Yeah.
That's his experiment.
And we see this play out. So she eats the pie, not with a fork or a knife or a plate. So you can imagine how that went.
Yeah.
I can hear it, but I can't see it.
It's kind of like Flatliners, which I just thought about.
What's Flatliners?
Wasn't Flatliners that movie about the doctors or the residents, medical students who form a club and they kill themselves?
Oh, God.
So that they can see what the afterlife is like?
That sounds like that would be a movie.
Yeah, 5 medical students embark on a daring and dangerous experiment to gain insight into the mystery of what lies beyond the confines of life. So they're a group of medical students who kill themselves so that they can experience what the other life is like. And they think that they are more qualified to do it because they are doctors.
Of course.
Yes.
Because sure, medical students, mind you.
Right.
So he has this ghoul. It's not an actual ghoul. It's a person.
Yes.
It just looks like a ghoul to me, and I'm terrified at this point. It's eating the pie. I can hear it, but can't see it.
With their hands.
With their hands. And you said the chick that was sitting on the other side of us said yuck, because I did see some pie spurt on the ground.
Yeah. So
she's not eating it like properly or something?
No. She's seeing it. So it's a live one, which kind of presents like a zombie. Kind of.
Yeah.
So she puts the pie on the table in the basement. It's just a table and a chair.
Yeah.
And a leaky roof. She puts the pie directly under the leaky roof. So leaky roof water is splashing into the pie while she's digging into it with her hands and eating it.
Okay. I see the context now.
She has like super huge. So she's like eating this wet overbaked pie with roof water in it.
Okay.
She's got like these huge black pupils that take up most of her eyeball.
Yeah, you said that. That's why I was
So she looks drugged out.
Right.
And she's just got sores and wounds and her skin is super gray.
Okay.
So yeah, she does look undead, but she is living.
Okay.
Somehow.
So the lady dies because she eats the stuff in the pie. And then this is where we get to the scene where Topher Grace comes, knocks on the door. The chicks try to go upstairs to try to find a way to get out. Hugh Grant deals with Topher Grace, sends him away. And by the time they come back downstairs, because obviously they don't get saved, Sister Paxton realized that the dead person is moved. And she was like, oh, snap. Something's actually happened.
Yeah, a couple things happened.
Yeah.
So but no, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say that we had Sister Paxton who says that the body is moving. We got Sister Barnes who's like, no, it hasn't. It hasn't moved at all.
And that's another note for me. Where this is where I started liking Sister Paxton. I didn't dislike Sister Paxton, but she definitely seemed like somebody who just wasn't paying attention and just refused to accept the danger that they were in.
Right.
But after,
She's naive.
So Hugh Grant has the woman eat the pie. She dies.
Yep.
And he makes the girls check their pulse before he agrees to let them out of the basement or whatever to prove that she's dead. So they prove that she's dead. Check her pulse, check her breathing. She's dead.
Right.
Sister
Barnes.
I
told you.
Sister Barnes puts her dead face down into the pie.
Yes, face down. Her face was face down.
And the girls go up while they're trying to, they go up to see if Topher Grace is going to discover them in the basement. He doesn't. But when they go back downstairs, Paxton notices that instead of being face down in the pie,
to the left.
She's like laying sideways in the pie.
Right.
And that's what frustrated me about Sister Barnes, because up until that point in the movie, Sister Barnes was a smart one.
She was the level-headed
one.
Was
intuitive and paid attention to everything.
Right.
But when Paxton was like, the body moved, and Barnes was like, that didn't happen. She's dead. You remember it different. I'm like, girl, no. We need to be on one accord.
One thing you kept saying while my face is covered with a popcorn bucket was that they kept turning away from the body.
That is one of my dislikes. It's my petty dislike.
They kept, I guess, and I can't see because y'all, she looked too scared for me, so I'm not watching. But you said, why do they keep turning away from the dead body?
So at one point, they steal matches from upstairs,
right?
And they're going to try to use the matches to smoke Hugh Grant out the house,
which didn't make any sense.
No, I don't know how that was going to work, but whatever. So they while they're trying to figure out how to light old girl's pea coat on fire so they can smoke Hugh Grant out the house, they're constantly turning away from the dead body at the table, which Paxton has confirmed has moved. So the body has moved, and they're constantly putting their back to it, trying to do this weird smoke Hugh Grant out the house plan. And that was my main petty dislike, was that y'all need to stop not paying attention to the moving dead body in the room. And
when she said it moved, I was like, I can't. Popcorn bucket can't come down yet. But I'm not ready.
That's not all, because the body does officially move.
It does.
You looked away, and I had to tell you that she left the table. Because
you
there's
did.
a camera cut when the body is sitting on the table, and then they look back at the girls trying to light the matches, and then the pan cuts back, and the body is gone, and it's out of focus in the background. All you see is empty table and chair.
Oh, right, because she did move.
Yeah,
because she does some contorting thing.
So the lady is now behind Paxton. She's resurrected to us.
Yeah.
And she's telling Paxton that she's seen the afterlife, clouds,
she says something
feeling of drifting off or wanting to return.
Yeah.
And then she says it's not real.
That's her last words.
Her last words. And this is all after she throws up all of the blueberry pie she's spoon-fed into her mouth.
Right.
And then after she says that, Hugh Grant comes downstairs and excuses her.
Now, there was one point in the movie, and I'm not sure when, because like I said, can't see at this point. She actually gets up and contorts and starts praying or something.
That was before she ate the pie.
Okay.
So before she ate the pie, she's in the corner. She and she does the typical possessed sounds where every step she takes, or every time she moves a limb, there's this crack bone. So she's clacking in the corner.
I'm down bad at this point.
Cheryl's eyes is covered.
I'm looking into my popcorn bowl like I can't watch this.
The prophet is doing Cirque du Soleil in the corner, clacking and clacking around,
hear it, and that was bad enough.
And praying and doing the prayer hands behind her back and yoga poses and breathing all heavy and sound like a ghoul.
Oh my god!
And that was my dislike as well.
Okay.
I put another note that said, stop not looking at her again.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
While prior to her death, and she's doing ghoulish stuff, and she's doing hereditary business in the corner. Yeah, and they keep turning her back. They're turning her back to her.
No, can't handle it.
Kill her too.
Yeah, can't handle it. Couldn't handle it. So he eventually, I guess, so we get to the part where Mr. Reed comes, takes our resurrected prophet to a room, and then he gets into this weird it started getting real dire. So he actually ends up killing Sister Barnes. We're having this real tense moment, and we think that Sister Paxton is about to stab Mr. Reed because she actually stole a letter opener from earlier. Okay, they about to stab him. They about to find a way to get out, but it's way too much time left. So what are we about to do? He actually kills Sister Barnes, stabs her with a box cutter, and she bleeds out
because she keeps poking holes in his theory.
He don't like that
around religion, because what she does, the reason he slits her throat is because we get some backstory around Sister Barnes. Yes, and she was in an accident where it left her clinically dead for several weeks while they worked on her kidneys, I believe. Yes, she said. And the experiences of the prophet, of the things that she saw in the afterlife, were the same things Sister Barnes saw while she was clinically dead. And Sister Barnes is like, that's not death or the afterlife. That's just your brain.
She called it a magic trick.
Yeah, she said it's just your brain, showing you images and convincing yourselves of things that you see when you're having a near-death experience, which is scientifically proven. And he doesn't like that because she reveals that he's not actually killing the women. What he is keeping them just close to death but alive,
right.
and then constantly giving them near-death experiences over and over again. And when they wake up from their near-death experience, that's what they're describing.
Right. So she's basically like, you're not raising people from the dead. You're just trying to pull a magic trick.
You're a fraud.
Right. And he don't like that. So he kills her. And she bleeds out. And then he flips into this weird, like, oh, everything. So Sister Paxton is still alive. Like, she's freaking out because now her girl is dead and
she's alone.
She's by herself. And he's like, oh, don't worry. She'll rise from the dead. And she's like, no, like, she's dead.
And then she doesn't.
So we see her dead body literally lay on the floor for most of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And he goes into this weird thing. He flips the script, essentially. So now we're not talking about religion. He goes into some weird, like, oh, this is all a simulation theory.
Yeah.
She's actually an NPC. And Sister Paxton's like, I'm sorry, what is going on?
Earlier in the scene, we get a shot of a surgical scar in Sister Barnes' arm.
Right.
And when he kills her, he notices it too.
Yes.
Because he looks at it and the camera cuts to it.
Yeah.
After he kills her, he cuts it out of her arm. And it's a contraceptive implant.
Yeah, it's just an arm implant that is like a little metal rod. You probably... if you Googled it, you would find out what it is. But it's an implant that they put instead of taking like something daily. It's just always in her arm.
And I think because he thinks that Sister Patterson is not worldly, that she doesn't know what that is. So when he cuts it out of Sister Barnes and shows it to Sister Patterson, he's telling her, oh, this is an implant. She's an NPC.
Yeah, she's not a real person.
We're living in a simulation.
Right.
And this is her microchip that controls her. And so now he's switched to simulation theory.
Yeah, so we've gone from religion and a prophet to simulation theory.
So now he's telling Sister Paxton, the real theory, the real religion is simulation. We're all in a simulation. And what happens is when we die, we leave the simulation and we go out into the real world. Yeah. Like the Matrix, basically. And that's when it falls apart for Sister Paxton.
And this is when she's turning it up. And I was like, ooh, her cool points is coming back. Because she calls him on this crap. Yeah. She's like, that is an implant for birth control in her arm. And she calls out that, like, the only reason why you're saying this now is because you didn't expect her to figure it out. Right. Essentially.
You switched up.
And you didn't expect your woman that you've kidnapped to give us clues that something wasn't right.
So this is when we get the flashback exposition.
Right.
And we find out that Sister Paxton has realized that there are multiple prophets that he sends downstairs. The first prophet is the prophet that dies. Yep. Because what he does is he's like a double fraud. Because first he claims that he's doing resurrection. Right. But he's not. Sister Barnes revealed that he's just giving them near-death experiences. They're not actually dying. But no, it's
take it one step further.
The fraud.
Right.
Because Sister Paxton realizes, no, you are killing these women. After you kill the prophet, while we're upstairs trying to figure out how to get out, you send a second prophet through a trap door who dumps the body, lays in the spot to take her place. That's why she was in a different position. It was a different person. Right. And she doesn't actually die because they're doing a body swap. The second person doesn't die or have a near-death experience. Nope. She's just reading a script that you prepared of things to say about the afterlife.
And this particular body double warned the girls.
Yes, this particular body double added a line at the end saying it's not real to warn them that this has all been staged. So Sister Paxton, she tells him, like, I bet if I open this trap door under the table, there's going to be a body down there. And it's going to be the first prophet you sent down here. Yep. And she opens up the door. And that's exactly what it is.
And she goes to the basement. And he knew, that's something else we didn't mention. He knew that she was going to be the one to, quote unquote, live out of the two of them for now up to this point. And he knew that he was going to kill Sister Barnes way earlier because he put the bike lock in her pocket so she can, because he used the bike lock on the door when she goes through this tomb that she about to walk through.
He knew he was going to have to kill Sister Barnes because he knew that she was going to be the skeptic, and he knew that Paxton was the
more naive one,
born into the religion one,
right? That
was going to be more naive and just listen to everything he said.
Exactly,
and that's kind of exactly what happens. But I like the fact that she went downstairs to the basement because she thought that's what was best for her, because that's what was told. She went down into the hatch, not because she thought that's what was best for her, because she just wanted to know. And I like that character growth.
Yes.
Because she went further down. She said, I just want to know the truth now.
Exactly.
And it wasn't about what she was being told. It was what she wanted to find out for herself.
Right. And right before she starts questioning him, she has like a pep talk to herself, like, you need to challenge him. You need to challenge him. You need to challenge him. And that's exactly what she does.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we can probably we want to roll into the ending because we have to get into that last part.
Sure.
So the ending of the movie, she gets down, she goes through all these doors, and come to find out, this man is not just keeping one or two women. He got a whole, I don't know, it was maybe like 8 women.
He's got cages of women.
Cages of women down in this basement. He's basically been doing this whole situation over and over and over again. And we kind of took it as he basically traps women, maybe kills. I don't know if he traps 2
at least
at
kills
a time.
one per experiment.
Exactly. To keep one person. So to have them replace the prophet, quote unquote, that he kills.
Yes.
And according to him, he keeps asking Sister Paxton, like, you know, what's the true religion? Have you figured it out yet? And she was like, you think that religion is just control. And he's like, oh, yes, that it is. So he's basically just been trying to show these women, like, there's no real religion. You're just under control this whole time. And she's like,
yeah, the real religion is influence, I guess.
Yeah,
the
like
power over women.
Right, because as you pointed out, the only people in the cage are women.
It's because it wasn't
man and women.
Yeah, and I like that, and I thought that was also good writing because it wasn't the reveal that you're just a creep and you're just a guy who likes to kidnap and torture women. Because if it was about finding the one true religion and spreading the message, where are the men?
Where are the men? And he doesn't let people go. So it's not like he's a cult leader who's building followers who go out and spread his fake gospel. He's literally trapping them in a basement.
He's talking about, I need research. This is going to be written about. It's like, no, it's not, because you're kidnapping. Nobody's going to write good things about you. Like, this isn't going to be a religion that's practiced in the future because you're kidnapping women and torturing them and murdering them. So
he's literally like a smart, crazy nut.
He's a serial killer.
And who almost got them because he's very good at flipping the script, right? So he almost got it to where, like, oh, you're in a simulation, but she was smart enough to be like, BS, this is not actually what's going on. So her fight or flight kicks in and she fights.
Yes.
She stabs him in the neck, but unfortunately she can't get out the house because it's a maze essentially. She gets to a room, she can't figure out how to get out, and she ends up getting back in the basement. Get back in the basement. He's actually bleeding out now, which I was thankful for because I thought when he shows back up in the basement, I was like, oh, he gonna live. But no, he's just bleeding out. He stabs her because now he got to finish the job. He bleeding out. She bleeding out, and she actually has a pretty significant speech where she talks about prayer. And she's like, you know, there was a study done. They said that prayer doesn't actually work, but sometimes it's just good to know that somebody else is thinking about you. So she starts praying because she's bleeding out and about to die. And he's about to take a final blow to her to kill her. And Sister Barnes wakes up.
Somehow. And she's been dead for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
bleeding out with a neck wound.
think that she just had her last moment of energy.
Yeah.
And takes a piece of wood that had nails in it that we saw maybe 45 minutes earlier.
Hid, like the first minute they were in the basement.
And I didn't forget all about this wooden piece of thing with nails in it. She takes it and whacks him on the side of the head and kills him. So he dies. She for real dies, and then gone. Sister Paxton ends up being able to make it. Here's where we get to the interpretation part. She makes it out of the house. She finds a way to make it out of the house, gets her phone, and then she runs off into this field with it's snow because it's been a snowstorm at this point, and a butterfly lands on her finger. Which is a callback to earlier in the film where she says if she ever dies, she wants to come out as a butterfly, and she would land on her loved one's finger so that they know it was her. So a butterfly lands on her finger, but then the scene cuts and the butterfly is gone. And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
So my interpretation is that she actually does make it out, but she was hallucinating that butterfly.
Yeah, that's exactly what my interpretation was.
My
interpretation was she just went through a traumatic experience. She just got gutted with a box cutter, and she had to climb her way to freedom out of a window.
Right.
And now she has to walk, like, I think they said the nearest place like 4 miles.
Yeah, they said it was his house was 4 miles.
She's 100% allowed to hallucinate while she's bleeding out in the
forest. So our interpretation of the ending is that she made it out. Sister Barnes did not make it out. Mr. Reed is dead, but she hallucinated the butterfly situation because that is something she mentioned earlier.
Some people took that in a Vanilla Sky direction. And I was just kind of like, I don't think that's what it is.
Some people were saying, oh, she's actually remembering what the first prophet said about clouds and skies. So she's actually walking into the afterlife. And I was like,
no,
I don't think the movie meant to take it that far, maybe.
If anything, if it was supernatural, it's only as far as, for me, it's just Sister Barnes.
Yeah, like if she actually was dead.
Yeah, if that Sister
back.
Barnes, when Sister Barnes was in the room when Paxton said, I would come back as a butterfly to let my loved ones know it was me. So it would make total sense that if Sister Barnes was resurrected as a butterfly, she would do that to let Paxton know that she's fine.
Some other interpretation, some people said that it was actually a simulation theory. Like she's actually going into the real world. I was like, nah,
I don't think so.
That was my least favorite. And then I think another one was, some people thought that she actually dies. So some people think that she is dying and going into the afterlife because her phone says no service because they were in the house with the metal. And that's why they couldn't make calls out. So when she jumps out of the window, we get a shot of her phone that says no service on it. And I was just kind of like, well, that happens all the time with phones.
It takes me a while for my phone to just get service.
So I didn't take much into that, but some people did.
Sometimes I have to restart my phone because it's been in airplane mode too long and it just refuses to connect.
But some people took that as, that shows that she's actually didn't make it out and she died because her phone service didn't kick back in.
The mountains.
And I was like, nah, I don't know about that one.
His backyard is a cliff.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't imagine too many, and he doesn't even own a phone, so I don't even imagine too many cell towers being out there.
Yeah, you're right. That's very true as well.
No, I don't. I mean, Sidney Prescott and Gail Weathers get shot and stabbed in the gut all the time. They live.
You actually called it out. You said, "Oh, she just stabbed in the stomach. Like, she could live."
It's a gut shot. I said, just clinch and you'll be all right.
The fact that because Sister Barnes got stabbed in the neck, he slit her throat, but she just got stabbed. Not just, but she got stabbed in the stomach. So that was definitely a livable wound.
Yeah, it's like just hold it.
Yeah,
put your pea coat over.
So my ending is she lived. She just hallucinated the butterfly,
and she deserved it.
She definitely does. And she went somewhere to go get help for the other women.
Yeah. Also, she needs to live because the women can't just die and desiccate and starve to death in the basement.
I don't like that idea. Yeah, I don't like the idea that everybody died because what about the women in the basement?
I don't accept that.
I don't like that either. So, any other random notes that you have about this movie?
I have a couple.
Okay.
So my first note was, is this movie going to be about birth control?
You did say that at the beginning.
Because of the opening sequence about her watching that adult film, and then that's when we get the first shot of her implant scar.
Yes. Oh, you're right.
And I was like, this is a very interesting conversation to open this film about. Is it going to be about birth control? But no, it wasn't. It was the implant was about
that
something
conversation never came back up.
No.
I thought when you said that, I was like, oh, I hope we don't get to some weird like
he's weird procreation baby mess.
Yeah,
kind
of like the end of the Watches where we was like making babies with aliens.
That's what Immaculate ended up being about trying to create the second Jesus Christ by like impregnating women.
Oh, see, I'm glad we didn't take it there.
So and it wasn't. The implant ended up being a microchip.
Yeah.
Reveal.
Okay.
Not reveal, but I thought the first red flag was that why did he take their coats so far away?
He did. He was like, where the coat rack at?
Yeah. When I walk into a person's house and they say, can I get your coat? The first thing I do is look for a coat rack. If you don't have a coat rack, there's nothing you can do with my coat. So
he left for like 5 minutes with their coats.
He took their coats to like the back of his house. He walked so far that you stopped hearing footsteps.
Yeah.
Like, why does my coat have to be
and
that
it was
far
like
away from me?
Dark wherever he was going.
I'm a stranger in your home. You should keep just in case I make you uncomfortable. Do you want to have to walk 50 leagues to go get me my coat so I can leave?
I just want to keep my coat right next to me.
I do agree that Burger King is trash. They had a conversation about when they were talking about how religions are derivative of the same thing. He tried to use burger joints.
And Sister Paxton's like ranking all the burger places. Mm-hmm. I disagree with that.
And they're ranking all the burger places, but they do agree that Burger King is trash, and I do agree with them. I do think Burger King is nasty.
No, listen, Whopper Jr. with cheese and some onion rings, sign me it.
I thought it was weird that they didn't check the window size of the house before going into it.
I mean, they were not. They weren't paying attention to
home with no windows.
They weren't paying attention to anything literally before they walked in.
All the windows in this house were like smaller than a foot. Wide if it was a circle. Like
we didn't see her crawl out of the window physically, but I'm sure she had to squeeze, shimmy, because the windows were small.
He had windows like a Chinese food restaurant.
Barely
any.
Yeah.
That's to a home. I thought that was a big red flag. Like, I'm not going in a house where I can't see outdoors.
That's true.
And after realizing the pie was fake, I would have attacked him.
Yep. That's probably my biggest...
the candle reveal is when I would have pounced him.
Listen, I already told you. Foot, shoes, knives, chairs, anything that was available to me. I would have took the blanket and wrapped it around his neck.
And that went into my likes because I was like, this reminds me of the creepy atmosphere of being in a stranger's house for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, you ever been in somebody's house for the first time and you're just looking around, or like if you've been in somebody's house for the first time, you never been there, and they walk off into another room, but you don't know what room it is, and you just hear sounds.
You're just looking.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
It reminded me of being in somebody I don't know, or somebody I don't trust house for the first time. It's like, I need to get up out of here.
They showed another red flag where they showed a picture of him and a dog, and that was it.
Yeah, when he says that I live here with just my wife, and the only picture in the house was just him and his dog.
Random German Shepherd that we also never see.
Yeah.
Maybe that was fake too.
And my last note was that if a man you don't know a thing about is already lying to you, you're in danger.
Yeah. Because why you got the lie, Craig?
You don't know a thing about this man. Okay, so you walk into the house. He's asking provocative questions. He's making you uncomfortable. Not criminal, but weird.
Very weird.
Weird and awkward, and definitely warrants you should leave. You may not be in danger, but you should. It's probably in the best interest to leave because he's a weirdo.
Exactly.
But once you find out that the pie was fake, now you're not only a weirdo, you're a liar. So you're in danger because a person you don't know a single thing about has already created a extra layer of a fake persona. You can't even crack the fake persona to get to the real person.
Right.
You're in danger.
Listen, when he threw the Book of Mormon down, it was like a college textbook where he did marked up and made Post-it notes and stuff on it. I was like, y'all hit the door.
Somebody you don't know is lying to you about who they are. You're in danger.
Right. Why you need me to tell you when you obviously have been studying this?
Yeah.
They had so many red flags, but in hindsight, it didn't matter because as soon as they walked through the door, it was locked.
They had so many red flags. It was enjoyable because as the audience, we know what those red flags are. But as characters, they can't act on them because there wouldn't be a movie.
You're right. Yeah. So it's like we said, it's kind of a petty dislike, but I was definitely like, if I was in this situation, we would have been fighting to the death. We would have been like Deadpool and Wolverine in that car. Okay.
Do you have any more random notes?
I do not. I got all my stuff out.
I don't have a favorite line, but my two favorite scenes are both scenes where both girls have their moment of breaking down his theories.
Oh, yes. Those were good.
I liked when Sister Barnes broke down his theory about religion. Mm-hmm. I'll also mention the Landlord's Game. I learned something in this movie. Mm-hmm. I did not know that when he's talking about how all the religions are derivative of one another, he brings out Monopoly.
Yes.
And he talks about how Monopoly is basically the Christianity of religions because it is the most popular and the most well known.
Yeah.
And then he breaks out to compare to Judaism. He breaks out this old throwback board game called the Landlord's Game.
Yep.
And he talks about how the Landlord's Game was the original Monopoly. It was invented by a woman, and the Monopoly came, bought the rights. Some guy came, bought the rights, and changed the name to Monopoly. Erased the Landlord's Game from the face of the earth and erased the history of the woman who made it. And he was talking about how that's how Christianity came and swept Jews off the map. Yeah. Basically. Which didn't make sense. But I did enjoy
how it played out was good though.
I enjoyed the Landlord's Game part of it because that makes total sense because they did the same thing in Barbie. How a woman made Barbie and then Mattel came, stole it, wiped her off the face of the earth, and there's basically no evidence that she ever existed unless you really go looking for it.
That's true. Or you watch Barbie.
I like that, the Landlord's Game. I learned something. I didn't know the Landlord's Game was a thing.
I did not either.
But it makes total sense that a woman made that and then totally got the credit stolen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what my favorite scene would be. The two scenes where they both break him down.
Yeah.
Like break down his theory would probably be my favorite, but I really did like the scene where she tells him he's full of crap and they both going through the belief door and she did not care what he said. She didn't shake her faith.
I love that also because even though he tried to roast all religions for 15 minutes and say they're all the same, her rebuttal was basically, sure, they are all have similarities, but we chose the Mormon corner, and that's where we're going to sit. So if you have a problem with that, you have to get over it.
Exactly.
And I love the fact
and we going through the belief door.
I love the fact that it wasn't about what religion is valid or what for them, what religion is real, what religion is valid. It was
what they believe.
Paxton was like, it's what we believe. And Barnes was like, yeah, and this is where we decide to be. So we're going to go through this door because at the end of the day, everybody picks a corner.
Exactly.
So, and I love that.
The way she delivered that was real kind of like, I don't care. I said what I said.
And he's going to kill us. And she was trying to tell Paxton that, like, girl,
It don't
playing
matter.
nice and doing what he says doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's going to kill us. So we should die with our beliefs. Let's go through this door.
True.
And I love that.
She ain't make it out at the end, but she went out like a G.
She died for her beliefs.
She
with
like
her
a G.
beliefs, and she did not let him change that.
Another theme.
Okay, so let's get to our rating.
I'm gonna give it I almost want to say 4.5. 4.5.
I think I'll give it a 4.5.
I'll give it a 4.5, and I'm only taking that half because of the whole disbelief of them not fight. Like,
yeah,
they should have fought back at some point somewhere, not all the way into the end.
Me and you were talking, and we were both like, we don't have a single friend that we know of that if we were trapped in a dangerous situation, they won't help us kill the killer.
It just took a little. It just took a little too much. I have to like suspend my belief to think that two women wouldn't attempt to do something before they got to the very end.
To anybody. I couldn't think of two people that I know that would...
Trapped by anybody.
Right. Who would let it play out. Participate in their own death that way.
Right.
No,
especially when the person is outnumbered.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go 4.5.
I would also agree with 4.5 because I don't really have real valid... I don't think this film did anything technically wrong.
No.
I just have preferences for some choices.
Right.
My preference was that they should have put a candlestick through that man at the first opportunity, but we would not have a movie that I enjoyed.
Yeah, he would smell like blueberry pie himself.
Yes, he would. Something would have been cooked in that house for sure. But I would have
made a sandwich on the way out.
I will give this a 4 out of 4.5 Nicole Kidmans. I do think this was good. And
it was good.
It was short, which adds to the rewatchability of it.
It was good for me because I was terrified for a part of it, and I was like, I don't know how more terrified I'm gonna be able to handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the it's not a ghoul. The near-death person who looked awful.
I knew it.
Is not in this movie a ton. I was able once we were past that point, I was able to watch the rest of the movie without the popcorn bucket.
I knew that at some point a ghoul was going to appear at some point, but we just didn't have proof. But as soon as she opened the door and that first toe, I was like, oh, here we go.
I was like, son of a, oh man.
Here we are again.
I couldn't, I had to.
We're back in ghoul territory.
Had to save myself for a little bit, but I still enjoyed it because I got to watch the rest of the movie once we was done with that part.
Yeah. Okay, so that is our review of Heretic. Still surprised of the Cinema Squad. I think it was really good.
I just think I think the religion part and I think the uncomfortableness is probably why people rated it that way. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
But this is another good A24 horror film.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You should absolutely check it out. It is a really good performance of Hugh Grant. I know he says he doesn't like doing like fun, campy stuff anymore. He only likes to do like serious roles. So he did really good in horror.
Good for him.
He does good in horror. So it's good for him.
Just don't be like that in real life. We're fine.
Sure.
All right. What are we watching next week? You doing this again. You're supposed to be on your point. Put your notes.
I always have the wrong incorrect note up.
3 seconds.
1
3,
second.
2, 1.
Next week, we are watching the Penguin Show review.
I think so, right?
Sure.
We should. Yeah. The sound of my voice probably makes you think I don't like the show. I like the show, but I do have some concerns or dislikes.
I like the show.
Yes.
And I will be upfront that because I already tweeted it, that I like the show.
Okay.
And the reason I said this is because they were talking about doing a Joker series too.
James Gunn debunked that.
Yeah, right. But they were talking about it.
They were.
But I was kind of like, while I do enjoy the Penguin, I am done absorbing non-Batman films
content.
and series. Yes.
Fair enough. I don't blame you.
No, thank you.
Where's Batman?
Because outside of Batman, if you remove Batman from Gotham, it's just a mob town. We have enough of that.
It's Penguin.
So. Yeah, and it's very well acted. Great acting.
Colin Farrell need
amazing
Golden Globe, Emmy, all that jazz, SAG Award, all that jazz. Give it to him.
Wonderful, beautiful gowns.
Yes.
Won't be there for season 2. If there is ever a season 2.
I need to binge the last of these couple episodes.
Any more non-Batman content, I'm just not interested in consuming. I like Batman.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he need not be in this.
Everywhere's Gotham.
He's too powerful, in my
right.
opinion. So, so we'll be watching The Penguin. If you haven't checked it out, start now because each episode is like 4 hours. I'm just kidding. Each episode is at least like an hour. Yeah. So you might want to start now so you can binge with us. And that's it for our episode. You want to take us out?
All right. Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast or on our website at vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message and we will play it on the show if it's nice. You can follow us on X or Twitter.
Ain't nobody calling that X. It's Twitter.
You can follow us on the Bird app.
There it
at
is.
Vaguely Nerdy Pod or IG at Vaguely Nerdy Podcast. You can also follow us on Threads at Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where we will be more active. You can reach us You can reach us at vaguelynerdypodcast at gmail.com. And if you're listening to our audio format of the podcast, you can watch our animated format on our YouTube channel, Vaguely Nerdy Podcast.
All right. Until next episode.
Bye.
Bye.